find a different story behind the scenes. And many of these stories, of course, get to our national media, the British press, the American press, the Indian press, the world press. The CNNs, the BBCs start to gain knowledge of these incredible stories. Football psychosis. There's a new disease came up a couple of years ago, and I'm sure that many people are aware that the greatest footballers, many of them are clinically depressed. This is a fact. Yet they have the greatest houses, the best cars, the most beautiful women. They have a job which is not exactly labor-intensive, let's say. They have adoring fans. They have people queuing up, ready to be their companions in this world. And yet, there is a lack of happiness, a lack of contentment, of inner peace. And we know that Islam refers to submission to Allah as being the key to attaining real inner satisfaction. As-salam, peace. Look at the Paris Hiltons of this world, in and out of prison recently. Look at Britney Spears shaving her head, a beautiful face, but she seems the need, she deems it necessary one day to shave her head. She's clinically depressed, she's on drugs, she's taking alcohol. Same with so many of these people. And ultimately they all have adoring fans and money and possessions, but it hasn't done them any good in this world. And unfortunately, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't guide their hearts, and we Muslims don't urge them to look at the truth of the Quran, the last testament to mankind, the criterion between right and wrong, and the prophetic traditions of the greatest of humanity, the best of humanity, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they will be in a loss in this world and the hereafter. I urge you to continue watching. We're going to a short break, brothers and sisters. We'll see you afterwards. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back from the break. Brothers and sisters in Islam and humanity, indeed, we seem to have reached an impasse in our global village that we call the world. It's our universe, and we've misunderstood it. We have misappropriated the material, and we have lost the spiritual. There's a spiritual loss in our world today that cannot be accounted for, considering that we have the Quran, we have the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have other books that have instructed us. And if you look at the original writings of most of those books, and of course we know that the original prophets that were sent gave the same message as the Quran, as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. And indeed the prophets did not differ. They were brothers of each other with different mothers. This is how they referred to. Materialism has become a fait accompli. The ism of material is followed by everyone without regard for the truth. It is as though it is the essence, the purpose of mankind. If you take, for example, the case of Robbie Williams, depicted as a flamboyant, party-reveling animal who never has a dull moment, who is so happy and contented, adoring fans, again, millions and millions of pounds, a lifestyle that many people would desire. Yet it is a fact that the man is addicted to Prozac, happy tabs. Now Prozac, by the way, brothers and sisters, is the most prescribed drug in the Western world. And it's becoming like that in the West as it is in the East. East now is taking over the West in terms of prescription of these type of drugs. The happy tab, the one that brings you back to your senses, the one that allows you to continue your lifestyle, your rampage after materialistic happiness and following your desires can be maintained once you take the happy tap. Buying and selling the soul, buying the soul. Suicide rates are high. People taking their life. This is materialism without balance with spirituality, without concern for feeding the soul. You feed the belly, you feed the senses, the five senses, but you don't feed the soul. You're going to end up dead inside. Most of mankind is in this state of loss. Khusr. Wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran. Indeed, that verily He swears by time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by time, that mankind is indeed in a state of loss. This is the condition of the people. No balance, no feeding the soul, no striving for the greater things of this world and the hereafter. And materialism and the political economic system that exists today requires a steady workforce. It requires consumers that don't ask questions but keep buying and buying and selling, even if it means that they sell their soul. On every street corner in the Western world and now in the Eastern world, in the Middle East, we see the scantily clad woman clambering over objects, consumer objects of desire. And when you buy, you get more than you bargained for. Because in one hadith, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentions that, and it's narrated by Abu Huraira, that the children of Adam, if they get one valley of gold, they require a second. It goes on to say that nothing will fill the belly of the children of Adam but dust. The desires for more and more go on. So you get more than you bargained for. You buy consumer goods because the desires are displayed there. Scantily clad woman over the bonnet of a car, wearing a diamond ring, wearing a watch, watching the latest movie on the silver screen, and you buy into it, and then you require more. You want the next valley of gold, and the next valley of gold, and the next. But it never satisfies your desires to get the next one until you go to the grave and you eat the dust. And this is the thing that will stop us from requiring more and more wealth and status in the hayat ad-dunya. Brothers and sisters in Islam and humanity, the truth about the materialistic world, the materialism that you and I are following, may Allah help us against it and let us have balance when we're following it. We also want to feed our soul and be of the ummah wasita, the middle nation. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam described us as being the best of nations. The truth about it is that there's no fulfilling the desires when it comes to worldly, when it comes to the alluring goods and chattels of the world. And it is true to say that happiness here, no matter what it is fleeting, is momentary. It is not like the hereafter, which we will discuss later on shortly. It is the glimpses, the milliseconds of satisfaction. When you take the first sip, when you eat the first morsel, it is then that you feel that happiness in the dunya. It is fleeting. And what's more, it always comes with a price. You drink, you get drunk. In the morning, you got a hangover. By the actions of your own hand did the evil come to you. You sleep with the opposite sex. In the morning, you find you've got gonorrhea. Perhaps you've got AIDS. Perhaps you've got something you don't even know you've got. Maybe it's chlamydia. These satisfactions that you have gained, we will find out at what price they are later on. But in this world, you get the reward for what your hands have given you. So the sexually transmitted diseases are coming. And what's more, in the Western world, particularly amongst the elite, which is quite shocking, you will see these STDs are massively on the increase. Syphilis is coming back. They got rid of it in the 60s and now it's coming back. What your own hands have wrought is what you will get in this world and in the hereafter. Fleeting glimpses of happiness. This is what the world is about. And it always comes at a price, the enjoyment. You buy the car. You drive it down the road. You crash it. You have to pay for his car. You have to pay for your car. Your insurance bills goes up. The police say that you were involved in reckless driving. They fine you. You have to go to court. Your name gets carried through the media. Your wife gets angry with you. You haven't got a car for 3 days. You have to travel around in a small car. Just with one crash. What about taking the mortgage out on the house? Mortgage means how much death. Doesn't that tell you? Isn't that enough to dissuade you? The house comes at a price. Inflation goes up. Mortgage goes up. Interest rates go up. And you can't even afford the monthly repayments. The price of happiness. Fleeting. And it comes at a price. Truly, by the actions of your own hands, does evil happen to you. So when you hear those people blaming Allah for the evil which has happened to them, the bad things which come to them, they should reflect, all of us should reflect. What did we do yesterday to make this thing happen? That's truly the reflection that we need. And we need to get back to spirituality. And we need to urge each other. As the rest of the surah goes, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَصَّوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَصَّوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And urge one another to the truth, holding on to patience. This is what we need to do if we want to get out of khusr, out of decay, out of destruction. And I'd like to suggest from the Quran and the Sunnah a way out of this. We can enjoy goodness in this world and still get what we deserve in the hereafter. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي دُنْيَا حَسَنَاتٍ وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةٍ وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. And this is a dua in the Quran that, oh Allah, oh Lord, give us the best in this world and the hereafter and protect us from the heat of the hellfire. We can have the portion of the dunya and have the akhirah. But the portion of the dunya and the success you get in the dunya and the reward you get in the dunya is always much, much less than the akhirah. And we will talk at length in the second part of this program about the rewards and the Islamic alternative to following a materialistic lifestyle without compromise, without balance, in the second part of the show. So brothers and sisters, I'll end this talk by saying that we all need to look inside and we need to refresh our intentions towards Allah, towards God. You need to seek out your Creator first and foremost, and you need to get proof and evidences of what the purpose of life is so that you can understand how to put balance back in your life so that you can have true happiness. I ask Allah, put us all on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path, to give us happiness in this world and the hereafter, and to protect us from the hellfire, of which only Allah truly understands the ferocity and the pain that we will endure there. Oh Allah.